How are you doing with stress? Are your worries getting you down? Does it feel like the whole world is coming down on you? I know this is something that a lot of us feel, and I just wanted to take a sec to talk about something that happened today where our worries got the best of us. But in a moment, I want to share a few stories that we've been learning in class this week that have helped me a lot to identify how I deal with worry in my life. And it's going to be really good. But before we get to that good stuff, let's talk about the last year. We don't get to talk about it a lot, but we just passed the 1-year anniversary of my dad having a massive stroke, and he was in the hospital for a month learning to walk again and talk again. And then we drove down to Idaho and brought him home with us, and he spent the next 10 months with us, and we were going to the hospital a couple times a week and just trying to help him get back on his feet again. It's been a hard year. This year's drained us of so many things. It's cost us relationships. It's drained our family's finances. It's drained our time and energy and our joy and passion. It's even affected our faith. When was the last time you were like, you know what, maybe God doesn't care. He doesn't care about me, and if he does, I'm just not feeling it. If you find yourself feeling that way too, then hold on just a sec, because I have something that I think will encourage you. But first, I just need to tell you about something that happened this morning that was easily the worst part of my week and our family's week. At 5:30 this morning, Cortnie woke up and she couldn't breathe. And she woke me up. And her and the kids have been sick a lot lately, so I thought maybe she's just having an allergic reaction to her medicine, and I was really close to calling 911. I didn't know what to do. This wasn't caused by medicine, it wasn't caused by a virus. But this was a panic attack. It was anxiety and worry and a year's worth of stress and injury and pain. And she couldn't breathe. It sucked. And it may seem funny, it may seem ironic, but this week we've been working through a story that's about faith, which we've lacked this week. It's about worry, which got the best of us this week. And I wanted to take a second and share just two little collections of stories from this week that I think will speak to you. And both of these sets of stories come from Luke's Gospel in the Bible. And they don't follow each other. They're about 3 chapters apart. But I want you to see if you can find a connection between what Jesus was saying. And ask yourself this question: does God care for you? And if he does, what does that mean for you today? I'll share the story, and then I'd love to hear what you're going through and how you plan on getting through it. If there's anything that me or any of the rest of us can do to help, because it's not okay to worry. And And then someone called out from the crowd, said, "Teacher, tell my brother to divide our father's estate with me." Jesus said, "Friend, who made me judge over you to decide such things as that?" And then he said, "Beware. Guard yourself against every kind of greed, for life is not measured by how much you own." And then he told him this story. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. And he said to himself, "What am I supposed to do? I don't have room for all my crops." And then he said, "I know. I'll tear down my barns and I'll build bigger ones. And then I'll have room for all my wheat and other goods. And then I'll sit back and say to myself, 'Self, you've stored up enough for years to come. Now take it easy. Eat, drink, and be merry.' And then God said to the man, 'You fool, for you will die this very night. And then who will get everything you've worked for?' That's right. A person's a fool who will store up earthly wealth but not have a rich relationship with God." And then turning to his disciples, Jesus said, "That is why I tell you not to worry about everyday life, about whether you have enough food to eat or clothes to wear. For life is more than food, and your body is worth more than clothes. Look at the ravens. They don't plant or harvest or store food in barns, for God feeds them, and you are certainly more valuable to him than any birds. Can all your worries add a single moment to your life? And if worrying can't accomplish a little thing like that, then what's the use of worrying over large things? Look at the lilies and how they grow. They don't work and make their clothing, yet Solomon in all his splendor was never dressed as beautifully as they are. And if God cares so wonderfully for flowers which are here today and thrown into the fire tomorrow, then he will certainly care for you. So why do you have such little faith? Don't be concerned about what to eat and drink. Don't worry about these things. These things dominate the minds of unbelievers all over the world. But your Father already knows your needs. Seek the kingdom of God above all else, and he will give you everything you need. So don't worry, little flock, for it gives your Father great pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell your possessions and give to those in need, and this will store up for you treasures in heaven, and the purses of heaven will never get old or develop holes. Your treasure will be safe. No thief can steal it, and no moth can destroy it. Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will also be. Now, tax collectors and other notorious sinners often came to listen to Jesus teach. This made the Pharisees and teachers of religious law complain that Jesus was receiving such sinful people, even eating with them. And so, Jesus told them this story. If a rich man has 100 sheep, and one of them gets lost, what will he do? Won't he leave the 99 others in the wilderness and go to search for the one who is lost until he finds it? And when he finds it, he will joyfully carry it home on his shoulders, and he will call together his friends and neighbors and say, "Rejoice with me, for I have found my lost sheep." In the same way, there is more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents and returns to God than over 99 others who are righteous and never strayed away. Suppose a woman has 10 silver coins but loses one of them. Won't she light a lamp and sweep her entire house and search carefully until she finds it? And when she finds it, she'll call in her friends and neighbors and say, "Rejoice with me, for I have found my lost coin." And in the same way, there is joy in the presence of God's angels when even one sinner repents. To illustrate this point further, Jesus told him this story. A man had 2 sons. The younger son came to the father and said, "Give me my share of the estate." So his father agreed to divide his wealth between his sons. A few days later, the younger son packed up his things and went to a distant land, and there he wasted all his money in wild living. About the time his money ran out, a famine swept across the land, and he began to starve. So he joined himself to a local farmer, and the man sent him into the fields to feed his pigs. And the young man was so hungry that even the pods he was feeding the pigs began to look good to him. But no one gave him anything. And when he finally came to his senses, he said to himself, "At home, even the hired servants have food enough to spare, and yet here I am, dying of hunger. I will go home to my father and tell him, 'Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Please take me as a hired servant.' So he returned home to his father. And while he was still a long way off, his father saw him coming, and filled with love and compassion, he ran to his son, embraced him, and kissed him. And his son said to him, 'Father, I have sinned against both heaven and you, and I am no longer worthy to be called your son.' But the father said to the servants, 'Quick, bring the finest robe from the house and put it on him, and get a ring for his finger and sandals for his feet. And kill the calf we've been fattening, for we must celebrate with a feast. For this son of mine was dead and was returned to life. He was lost, but now he's been found.' And so the party began. Meanwhile, the older son was in the fields working. And when he returned home, he heard music and dancing in the house. And so he asked one of the younger boys what was happening. And he was told, 'Your brother is back, and your father has killed the fattened calf, and we are celebrating his safe return.' But the older son was angry and refused to go in. His father came out and begged him, but he replied, 'All these years I have slaved for you, and never once refused to do a single thing you asked me to. And all that time, you never even gave me one young goat to have a feast with my friends. But when this son of yours comes back, after squandering your money on prostitutes, you celebrate by killing the fattened calf.' But his father said to him, 'Look, dear son, you have always been with me, and everything I have is yours. We had to celebrate this wonderful day because your brother was dead. Now he's come back to life. He was lost, but now he's found. Hey, I hope this story spoke to you, and that in it you see that God really does care for you, and that He is delighted to call you His son and daughter. He's a good father who takes good care of His kids. If you like these stories and you want to hear more, would you consider partnering with Cortnie and I? So far, we're halfway through the Word by Heart School, and we have 45 minutes of stories already, and we'll be sharing more in video form over the coming weeks. We have all kinds of fun things, amazing things lined up for the rest of this year, but none of those things happen without amazing people like you who get behind us and back us and make it all happen. So I'll put some details in the description below to show you how you can become one of our partners. Love you guys. Have a good week.